Welcome and settle in for tonight's journey into the distant past. Find a comfortable place to rest, let the distractions of the day slowly drift away, and imagine yourself walking along a quiet country road in medieval Europe. The air is cool and damp. A light mist hangs over the fields, and the only sounds are the distant calls of birds, the rustling of trees, and the soft footsteps of travelers making their way toward a village that has existed for generations. From a distance, everything appears peaceful. Stone churches rise above clusters of wooden homes, smoke curls gently from thatched roofs, and the surrounding farmland stretches toward the horizon. It is the kind of scene often shown in paintings, films, and fairy tales. Yet beneath this calm appearance lies a very different reality, one shaped by constant work, uncertainty, and survival. When many people imagine the Middle Ages, they picture magnificent castles, armored knights, royal banquets, and grand tournaments. These images certainly existed, but they represented only a tiny fraction of medieval society. The overwhelming majority of people never lived in castles, never wore shining armor, and never attended royal celebrations. Instead, they lived in small farming communities where each sunrise marked the beginning of another demanding day. For ordinary families, life revolved around growing food, caring for animals, repairing homes, and preparing for winters that could be harsh enough to threaten entire communities. Every season brought new responsibilities, and every year carried fresh uncertainty. Understand the hidden truth about medieval life. It helps to leave behind the legends and step into the shoes of an ordinary villager. Imagine waking before dawn, not because of an alarm clock, but because the day's work cannot wait. There is no electricity to provide warmth or light, no running water flowing from a tap, and no supermarket waiting just down the road. Every necessity of life must be earned through physical effort. Water must be carried from a nearby stream or village well. Firewood must be gathered and carefully protected from rain. Bread must be baked from grain that was planted, harvested, and ground by hand. Even the simplest daily tasks require patience, strength, and time. The medieval world was deeply connected to nature. Long before weather forecasts or modern farming technology, people depended almost entirely on the changing seasons. A late frost could destroy young crops. Heavy rains could flood fields and wash away months of labor. Summer droughts could leave entire villages facing hunger before winter even arrived. Families observed the sky with remarkable attention, learning to recognize subtle changes in clouds, winds, and animal behavior. Their knowledge came not from scientific instruments, but from generations of observation, experience, and shared tradition. Life expectancy was much shorter than it is today, although this statistic can sometimes be misleading. Many children did not survive infancy because illnesses that are easily treated today were often deadly. Diseases spread quickly through villages where sanitation was limited, and medical knowledge was based on ancient beliefs mixed with local traditions. A simple infection from a small cut could become life-threatening. Even a common fever caused fear, because no one could predict whether recovery would come or whether the illness would continue to grow worse. Despite these dangers, medieval people displayed remarkable resilience, relying on family members, neighbors, and local healers whenever sickness appeared. Homes themselves reflected both the limitations and the resourcefulness of medieval society. Most ordinary villagers lived in modest wooden cottages, with thatched roofs made from straw or reeds. The walls might be constructed from woven branches covered with a mixture of mud, clay, and straw, creating a surprisingly effective barrier against wind. Inside, space was limited. One main room often served as kitchen, dining room, workshop, and bedroom for the entire family. Smoke from the central fire escaped slowly through the roof, leaving darkened beams overhead and filling the room with the familiar scent of burning wood. The warmth was welcome during cold evenings, but smoke also irritated eyes and lungs, becoming a constant part of daily life. Food was both precious and unpredictable. Bread formed the foundation of most meals, accompanied by vegetables, beans, onions, cabbage, and whatever herbs could be grown nearby. Meat was far less common than many modern audiences imagine. For ordinary peasants, livestock represented valuable working animals or future sources of income rather than everyday meals. Chickens provided eggs, cows produced milk, and sheep supplied wool that could be spun into clothing. Every animal played multiple roles within the household economy, making careful management essential for survival. Social life centered around family, faith, and community. The local church served not only as a place of worship, but also as the heart of village life. Festivals, marriages, baptisms, funerals, and seasonal celebrations brought neighbors together throughout the year. Stories were shared by firelight, songs echoed during harvest seasons, and generations passed down practical knowledge through spoken tradition. Without printed books available to most people, memory became an invaluable resource. History, customs, and lessons about survival lived within conversations rather than libraries. Yet beneath these moments of togetherness remained a constant awareness that life could change suddenly. A failed harvest, an outbreak of disease, a local conflict, or unusually severe weather could reshape an entire community within months. Security was never guaranteed. Instead, medieval families adapted by preparing carefully, working collectively, and accepting uncertainty as an ordinary part of existence. Their world demanded endurance in ways that are difficult for many of us to imagine today. As our journey continues, we will move beyond the broad picture and step deeper into the rhythms of everyday medieval life. We will explore what happened from the first light of dawn until darkness settled over the countryside, discovering how ordinary men, women, and children organized every hour of their day. Their routines may seem unfamiliar, but they reveal the remarkable determination that allowed countless generations to survive through one of history's most challenging eras. For now, allow the quiet sounds of the medieval countryside to settle gently in your imagination. Picture the fading light above the fields, the distant ringing of a church bell, and the soft glow of a cottage fire as another day comes to an end. In the next chapter, we will wake with the villagers before sunrise and begin to experience the true rhythm of daily life in the medieval world. The day begins long before the sun appears above the horizon. There are no alarm clocks, no glowing phone screens, and no electric lights to ease the transition from sleep to wakefulness. Instead, the village slowly stirs to life with the familiar sounds that have marked the beginning of every morning for generations. A rooster calls into the darkness. A dog barks somewhere beyond the cottages. In the distance, a cow lets out a low, patient moo as it waits to be milked. These simple sounds form the rhythm of a world completely guided by nature. Inside a modest thatched cottage, the air is cool, and the last embers of yesterday's fire glow faintly beneath a layer of ash. During the night, the warmth has faded, and the family rises quickly, knowing that delaying the morning chores means falling behind for the rest of the day. There is little time for lingering in bed. Every hour of daylight is valuable, especially during the busy seasons of planting and harvest. The cottage is small by modern standards. Most families live together in a single main room where nearly every aspect of daily life takes place. Meals are prepared here, tools are repaired here, clothes are sewn here, and at night everyone sleeps in the same shared space. Privacy, as we understand it today, is almost unknown. Parents, children, and sometimes elderly relatives all live closely together, their lives deeply intertwined. The beds themselves are simple. Wealthy nobles may sleep on wooden frames with feather-filled mattresses, but ordinary villagers make do with sacks stuffed with straw, dried grass, or leaves. Blankets woven from coarse wool provide some protection from the cold, although winter nights can still be bitterly uncomfortable. Over time, the straw bedding becomes flattened and must be replaced regularly. It is not uncommon for insects or small pests to find shelter within the bedding, making peaceful sleep more difficult than we might imagine. Before anyone can prepare breakfast, the fire must be brought back to life. Fire is one of the household's most valuable possessions. Starting a new fire from scratch requires time and effort, so families try to keep embers alive overnight beneath warm ashes. With careful hands, dry twigs, straw, and small pieces of wood are placed over the glowing coals. Gentle breaths encourage tiny flames to grow until the fire once again fills the room with welcome warmth and light. As the flames brighten the cottage, the first chores begin immediately. One family member may collect water from the village well or a nearby stream. Another checks on the chickens, gathering fresh eggs if any have been laid during the night. Someone else feeds the pigs or goats waiting outside. Every task is connected, and each contributes to the survival of the household. Even young children often have responsibilities suited to their age, learning from an early age that everyone must help. Breakfast is usually modest. A bowl of porridge made from oats or barley is common, providing enough energy for the demanding hours ahead. Sometimes yesterday's coarse bread is softened in warm broth or ale. Fresh fruit is available only during certain seasons, and sugar is an unimaginable luxury for most villagers. Honey, when available, offers one of the few naturally sweet treats. Despite the simplicity of the meal, it is welcomed with gratitude, for no one can be certain what future harvests will bring. Outside, the village slowly comes alive. Thin columns of smoke rise from dozens of cottages as families prepare their own morning meals. Farmers shoulder wooden tools and head toward the fields. Children carry baskets, buckets, or bundles of firewood. Women often begin spinning wool, baking bread, or tending vegetable gardens before the sun has fully risen. Every person has a role, and the village functions because countless small tasks are completed every single day. The landscape surrounding the village is both beautiful and demanding. Open fields stretch across gentle hills, divided into strips carefully cultivated by different families. Beyond them lie dense forests that provide timber, wild berries, mushrooms, medicinal herbs, and game, but also hide dangers. Wolves, wild boar, and the possibility of becoming lost make the forest a place that commands both respect and caution. Rivers offer fish and fresh water, but can flood unexpectedly after heavy rains. As daylight strengthens, the sounds of work replace the quiet of dawn. Wooden cart wheels creak along muddy paths. Blacksmiths begin striking glowing iron with rhythmic blows that echo through the village. Shepherds guide flocks toward open pastures while millers prepare to grind grain brought by local farmers. Every profession supports the others, creating a tightly connected community where cooperation is essential for survival. Unlike the fast-paced world of today, medieval life follows the steady rhythm of the natural world. There are no crowded highways, no factories, and no constant stream of information demanding attention. Instead, time is measured by the position of the sun, the ringing of church bells, and the changing seasons. While life is undeniably difficult, it also possesses moments of quiet beauty. Morning mist drifts across the fields, birds sing from ancient oak trees, and golden sunlight slowly warms the earth after a cold night. For many villagers, these peaceful moments are brief. The hardest work of the day is only just beginning. Fields must be plowed, seeds planted, fences repaired, animals cared for, and countless unexpected problems solved before evening arrives. Every sunrise offers another opportunity to survive, but it also brings fresh challenges that cannot be ignored. As we leave the quiet hours of dawn behind, we will next follow the villagers into the fields and workshops where nearly every waking hour is spent. There, we will discover just how physically demanding medieval labor truly was, and why the simple act of earning enough food for one family required extraordinary endurance, patience, and determination. As the morning sun rises higher above the fields, the peaceful stillness of dawn quickly gives way to the steady rhythm of work. For the people of medieval Europe, there is rarely such a thing as a day off. Survival depends not on wealth or comfort, but on countless hours of physical labor repeated day after day, season after season, and year after year. Every member of the household, from the oldest grandparent who is still able to help to the youngest child strong enough to carry a bucket, has a role to play. Imagine standing in the middle of a wide field just after sunrise. The earth is cool beneath your feet, still damp from the night's dew. Before you stretches land that must provide enough food to carry your family through the coming year. There are no tractors, no mechanical harvesters, and no engines to lighten the burden. Every row is planted by hand. Every weed is removed by hand. Every harvest is gathered by hand. The success or failure of the crop depends almost entirely on human effort, favorable weather, and a measure of good fortune. For many villagers, farming is not simply an occupation, it is life itself. The changing seasons determine every major decision. Spring is filled with plowing and planting. Summer demands endless hours of tending crops and repairing fences. Autumn becomes a race against time as families gather grain, vegetables, and fruit before cold weather arrives. Winter, though quieter in the fields, is far from restful. Tools must be repaired, firewood collected, clothing mended, and animals cared for through freezing temperatures. The tools available to medieval farmers are sturdy but simple. Wooden plows strengthened with iron blades cut through the soil, often pulled by teams of oxen that move steadily across the fields. Sickles and scythes harvest grain one careful swing at a time. Hoes loosen the earth around vegetables, while wooden rakes gather hay beneath the warm summer sun. These tools require skill and patience, but they also demand considerable strength. A single day's work leaves muscles aching and hands rough with calluses. The pace of labor is relentless. During harvest season, entire families may spend nearly every hour of daylight in the fields. They know that delaying the work even by a few days could allow rain to ruin ripe grain or strong winds to scatter precious crops. Every bundle gathered today may become the bread that keeps hunger away months later. There is little room for carelessness when the next winter depends on the success of the harvest. Not everyone works directly in the fields. Within the village, skilled craftspeople contribute in equally important ways. The blacksmith begins heating iron before sunrise, his workshop glowing with orange light as sparks leap from the anvil. He shapes horseshoes, nails, knives, farming tools, and countless other objects that keep village life functioning. The rhythmic ringing of hammer against metal becomes one of the most familiar sounds in the community. Nearby, the village carpenter measures rough timber with practiced eyes. Using little more than hand saws, chisels, wooden mallets, and remarkable experience, he constructs doors, wagons, furniture, and sturdy roof beams. Every piece of wood is valuable, and waste is avoided whenever possible. A well-crafted wagon or strong wooden chest may serve a family for generations. Women shoulder an equally demanding workload, although much of it takes place within and around the home. Bread must be baked regularly, often beginning with grain that has first been ground into flour at the village mill. Water is carried repeatedly throughout the day, sometimes from considerable distances. Wool is washed, spun into thread, and woven into cloth that eventually becomes clothing, blankets, or sacks. Gardens require constant attention. producing herbs, onions, beans, cabbage, and other vegetables that supplement the family's diet. The preparation of food alone can occupy many hours. There are no refrigerators to preserve fresh ingredients, no packaged meals waiting on shelves, and no convenient kitchen appliances. Every loaf of bread, every pot of stew, and every wheel of cheese represents hours or even days of careful work. Preserving food for winter through drying, salting, smoking, or fermenting becomes an essential skill, ensuring that the family has something to eat when fields lie frozen beneath snow. Children begin learning these responsibilities almost as soon as they are able to walk. A young child may gather eggs, scare birds away from newly planted seeds, or help collect kindling from nearby woods. As they grow older, their duties increase steadily. Boys often learn farming, carpentry, or blacksmithing from fathers and other craftsmen, while girls frequently master spinning, cooking, sewing, dairying, and household management from mothers and grandmothers. Formal schooling remains rare for most rural families, but practical education takes place every single day through observation and experience. Despite the endless work, medieval villagers are far from idle thinkers. As they labor together, they tell stories, sing songs, exchange local news, and pass down traditions that have survived for generations. A harvest field may echo with quiet conversation. A spinning wheel may turn while grandparents recount tales of saints, kings, strange creatures said to inhabit distant forests, or extraordinary events remembered from decades earlier. In a world where books are scarce and many people cannot read, spoken stories preserve history, wisdom, and community identity. The weather influences every working day. A cool breeze offers welcome relief during summer harvests, while unexpected storms send everyone rushing to protect grain drying in the fields. Rain can transform roads into deep mud, slowing travel for carts loaded with supplies. During unusually hot summers, workers pause briefly beneath trees before returning to their tasks, knowing that valuable daylight cannot be wasted. Yet no matter how carefully families plan, much remains beyond their control. A single hailstorm can flatten crops in minutes. An illness affecting oxen may delay plowing for weeks. A harsh winter can reduce stored food far more quickly than expected. Medieval life constantly reminds its people that nature is both generous and unforgiving, rewarding careful preparation while offering no guarantees. As afternoon gradually gives way to evening, tired villagers begin making their way back toward the cottages from which they departed before sunrise. Their clothes are dusty, their hands sore, and their bodies weary from another long day. But the work is not yet finished. Animals still need feeding, fires must be prepared, and the evening meal awaits. In the next chapter, we will step inside a medieval home once again, where simple suppers, family traditions, and the comforting glow of the hearth reveal another side of everyday life in the Middle Ages. As the sun begins its slow descent beyond the fields, the pace of work gradually softens. The long hours of labor are coming to an end, and one by one, villagers leave the farms, workshops, and pastures behind. Their footsteps follow familiar dirt paths back toward the small cluster of cottages they call home. Smoke rises steadily from dozens of thatched roofs, drifting lazily into the cool evening air. The scent of burning oak and freshly baked bread carries across the village, signaling that another day of hard work has been successfully completed. For many medieval families, the evening is the only time everyone gathers in one place. Although the day has been filled with exhausting labor, there is comfort in returning home. The cottage may be small and simple, but it offers shelter from the wind, rain, and darkness beyond its walls. As heavy wooden doors close behind them, the outside world fades away, replaced by the warm glow of the household hearth. The fireplace is the true heart of the home. It provides warmth during cold evenings, light after sunset, and a place where meals are prepared throughout the year. Without it, life would be unimaginably difficult. Families guard their fire carefully, often keeping hot embers alive overnight beneath a blanket of ash so that a new flame can be kindled quickly the following morning. Losing the household fire means borrowing embers from a neighbor or spending valuable time creating a new one by hand. Preparing the evening meal is a slow and deliberate process. Every ingredient has required days, weeks, or even months of effort. Grain has been planted, harvested, threshed, and ground into flour. Vegetables have been tended carefully in kitchen gardens. Milk has been collected from cows or goats before being transformed into butter or cheese. Even gathering clean water has taken time and physical effort. Nothing on the table is taken for granted, because every meal represents the combined labor of the entire household. A large iron pot often hangs above the fire, slowly simmering throughout the evening. Inside may be a hearty pottage, one of the most common meals across medieval Europe. This thick stew changes with the seasons, containing whatever ingredients are available. Barley, oats, beans, peas, onions, cabbage, carrots, leeks, and herbs are common additions. Occasionally, small pieces of salted meat or smoked bacon add flavor, but for many ordinary villagers, meat remains an occasional luxury rather than a daily staple. Fresh bread accompanies nearly every meal. The texture and quality of the bread often reflect a family's wealth. Wealthier households enjoy fine white loaves made from carefully sifted wheat flour, while ordinary peasants eat darker, denser bread made from rye, barley, or mixed grains. Although coarse by modern standards, this bread provides much of the energy needed to endure long days of physical labor. Drink is just as important as food. Clean drinking water is not always easy to find, particularly in larger towns where wells and streams can become contaminated. As a result, many adults and children regularly drink weak ale brewed at home. Unlike the stronger alcoholic beverages familiar today, this mild ale contains very little alcohol and is considered a safe everyday drink. Brewing becomes another essential household skill, passed down through generations. Meals are usually eaten from wooden bowls using simple wooden spoons. Forks are almost unknown in much of medieval Europe, and knives serve many purposes beyond dining. Families often share food from common dishes placed near the center of the table. The meal itself is rarely rushed. After hours of demanding work, this is a valuable opportunity to rest aching muscles, exchange stories, and discuss the events of the day. Children listen carefully as parents speak about the weather, crops, neighboring villages, or news brought by passing travelers. Stories play an important role in evening life. Without television, radio, or books in most homes, entertainment depends largely upon conversation and imagination. Grandparents recount tales of local legends, heroic kings, mysterious forests, miraculous saints, and creatures said to wander the countryside after dark. Some stories are meant to entertain, while others quietly teach lessons about courage, honesty, generosity, or caution. Music also finds its place during peaceful evenings. A shepherd may play a simple wooden flute. Someone else quietly sings an old folk song remembered from childhood. During festivals or celebrations, these songs become louder and more joyful, but even on ordinary nights, music offers comfort after a difficult day. It reminds villagers that life contains moments of beauty despite its many hardships. Outside the cottage, darkness gradually spreads across the landscape. Without electric lights, the medieval night becomes astonishingly dark. On clear evenings, countless stars shine brightly overhead, their brilliance undiminished by modern cities. The Milky Way stretches across the sky like a pale river of light. Many people look upward with wonder, believing the heavens reveal signs of divine order, changing seasons, or future events. The night sky is both familiar and mysterious, guiding travelers while inspiring countless stories and beliefs. Yet darkness also brings uncertainty. Forests become silent except for the distant calls of owls or the rustling of unseen animals. Wolves still roam parts of Europe, and although attacks on villages are uncommon, people remain cautious. Travelers avoid unnecessary journeys after sunset, preferring the safety of familiar homes. Wooden doors are secured, animals are gathered into pens, and the final chores are completed before the village settles into quiet. Inside the cottage, candles and oil lamps are used sparingly. Both are expensive, and wasting precious light is avoided whenever possible. As the fire burns lower, family members prepare for sleep. Bedding is spread across simple wooden frames or directly upon straw-filled mattresses. Cloaks or extra blankets are pulled close during colder months, while the soft crackling of the hearth provides one final source of warmth before sleep arrives. For a few peaceful hours, the endless demands of medieval life seem to pause. The fields no longer require attention. The blacksmith's hammer has fallen silent. The village rests beneath a canopy of stars, waiting for another dawn that will once again begin with work, responsibility, and hope. As we continue our journey, we will move beyond the quiet comfort of the family hearth and explore one of the most powerful forces shaping every aspect of medieval life: faith, the church, and the beliefs that guided people through times of joy, hardship, and uncertainty. Part 5: Faith, Fear, and the Medieval Mind. As dawn and dusk marked the passing of each day, another force quietly shaped nearly every moment of medieval life. It was not a king, a knight, or even the changing seasons. It was faith. For the ordinary people of medieval Europe, religion was far more than a weekly ceremony. It influenced how they understood the world, how they measured time, how they celebrated life's happiest moments, and how they found comfort during its greatest sorrows. Imagine waking on a quiet Sunday morning. The village feels different from the busy weekdays spent in the fields. Instead of hearing the steady rhythm of tools striking earth or the creaking of wagons heading toward farmland, the sound that carries across the countryside is the ringing of church bells. Their clear notes travel over hills and through forests, calling everyone together. Whether rich or poor, young or old, nearly every villager understands that it is time to gather. The village church is often the largest and strongest building for miles around. While most cottages are built from wood and thatch, the church is commonly constructed from heavy stone designed to stand for generations. Its tower rises above the surrounding homes, serving as both a landmark and a symbol of stability in a world filled with uncertainty. For travelers approaching from distant roads, the church is often the first sign that they are nearing a place of safety and community. Inside, the atmosphere is unlike anything found elsewhere in the village. Sunlight filters through small stained glass windows, painting colorful patterns across stone floors. Candles flicker softly beside carved altars, filling the air with the gentle scent of beeswax. Voices remain quiet as families take their places. Even children who have spent the week running through fields or helping with chores often become unusually still within these ancient walls. Most ordinary villagers cannot read. Books are rare, expensive, and carefully copied by hand over many months. Because of this, the church serves not only as a place of worship, but also as a place of learning. Through sermons, paintings, sculptures, stained glass, and spoken stories, people learn about history, morality, and their understanding of the world. Images carved into stone teach lessons just as effectively as written words. Life in the Middle Ages is filled with questions that have no easy answers. Why does illness suddenly strike one family while another remains healthy? Why does one harvest flourish while the next fails completely? Why do storms destroy some villages yet spare others? Without modern science to explain these mysteries, many people see such events through the lens of faith. They believe that every blessing and every hardship carries a deeper meaning, even if that meaning cannot always be understood. Prayer becomes a quiet part of everyday life. Farmers whisper prayers before planting seeds, hoping for favorable weather. Mothers pray for the health of newborn children. Travelers ask for protection before setting out on long journeys. Soldiers pray before battle, while fishermen pray before casting their nets into uncertain waters. These moments of reflection offer comfort in a world where so much lies beyond human control. The calendar itself revolves around religious festivals. Christmas, Easter, and the celebrations honoring various saints divide the year into familiar seasons. These holy days provide welcome breaks from ordinary routines. Villages decorate churches with greenery, prepare special meals whenever possible, and gather together in celebration. Music fills the air, children laugh as they play, and neighbors who spend most days working separately enjoy rare moments of shared joy. Yet alongside hope exists a deep sense of fear. Medieval Europe is a place where death is a familiar companion. Disease spreads quickly, accidents happen without warning, and life expectancy is far shorter than in the modern world. Families experience loss more often than we might imagine today. Faith offers reassurance that death is not the end, but it also encourages people to reflect carefully on how they live their lives. The medieval imagination is filled with unseen forces. Stories of angels, demons, miracles, and mysterious signs circulate from village to village. Strange lights in the sky, unusual animal behavior, or unexpected natural events are sometimes interpreted as messages carrying spiritual significance. While modern audiences may understand these occurrences differently, for medieval people they are woven naturally into everyday life, blending observation with deeply held belief. Pilgrimages also hold a special place in medieval society. Some believers undertake long journeys to visit famous churches, monasteries, or holy shrines. These trips can take weeks or even months, leading travelers across mountains, rivers, forests, and unfamiliar towns. Along the way, they meet people from distant regions, exchange stories, and experience parts of the world they might otherwise never have seen. For many, the pilgrimage is both a spiritual journey and one of the greatest adventures of their lives. Monasteries become centers of quiet industry as well as prayer. Behind their stone walls, monks and nuns devote themselves to study, farming, caring for the sick, and preserving knowledge. In candlelit rooms known as scriptoria, patient hands copy books one letter at a time onto carefully prepared parchment. Some of the ancient writings that survive today owe their existence to these dedicated scribes, whose careful work protects knowledge through centuries of conflict and change. Acts of kindness are deeply valued within village life. Neighbors help rebuild homes damaged by storms. Families share food with those whose harvests have failed. Travelers may receive shelter for a night before continuing their journeys. Although life is often difficult, cooperation strengthens communities. People understand that anyone may one day need the generosity of others. As evening falls once again, the church bell rings softly across the fields. Farmers pause for a moment before returning home. Children finish their games. Birds settle into the trees as golden sunlight fades into twilight. The familiar sound reminds everyone that another day has passed, bringing them one step closer to the changing seasons that shape every aspect of medieval existence. In our next chapter, we will leave the peaceful village behind and step inside the towering stone walls of a medieval castle. There we will discover that the lives of kings, queens, nobles, and knights, though surrounded by wealth and power, were often far less comfortable and far more demanding than legends would have us believe. From a distance, a medieval castle appears almost magical. Its high stone walls rise above the countryside, towers stand proudly against the sky, and colorful banners flutter gently in the wind. To modern eyes, castles often symbolize romance, luxury, and royal grandeur. They are the settings of fairy tales, heroic adventures, and legendary feasts. Yet for the people who actually lived within these massive fortresses, daily life was far more practical, disciplined, and at times, surprisingly uncomfortable. As you approach the castle, the first thing you notice is not its beauty, but its strength. Thick stone walls surround the complex, built to withstand attacks that could last for weeks or even months. A deep ditch, sometimes filled with water, protects the outer defenses. The heavy wooden gate is reinforced with iron, while a portcullis, a massive iron lattice, can be lowered in moments if danger approaches. Every feature of the castle is designed first for survival and only second for comfort. Crossing the drawbridge, you enter a busy world that feels more like a small village than a royal palace. Soldiers patrol the walls, keeping watch over the surrounding countryside. Stable workers care for horses that may one day carry knights into battle. Blacksmiths repair swords, armor, horseshoes, and farming tools. Bakers prepare bread for dozens, sometimes hundreds of residents, while cooks hurry between roaring kitchen fires. Servants carry water, scrub floors, wash clothing, and perform countless tasks that keep the castle running smoothly. At the center of the castle stands the Great Hall. This is the heart of noble life, where meals are shared, important visitors are welcomed, legal disputes are settled, and celebrations take place. Long wooden tables fill the room, illuminated by candles and the glow of enormous fireplaces. Colorful tapestries hang from the stone walls, adding warmth while helping to reduce the chill that seeps through the thick masonry. Despite these efforts, castles are often cold places. Stone walls hold little warmth during winter, and even roaring fires struggle to heat large rooms with high ceilings. Drafts slip through narrow windows and beneath heavy doors. Residents wear layers of wool, fur, and linen indoors, especially during the colder months. Comfort, by modern standards, remains a rare luxury, even for the wealthiest families. The lord of the castle oversees far more than his own household. He is responsible for managing farmland, collecting taxes or rents, settling disagreements among villagers, organizing defenses, and maintaining loyalty to higher-ranking nobles or the king. His days are filled with meetings, inspections, correspondence, and decisions that affect hundreds of people living on the surrounding estates. Wealth brings privilege, but it also carries significant responsibility. The lady of the castle holds an equally important position. While stories often portray noblewomen as simply waiting in elegant chambers, reality is far different. She supervises servants, manages food stores, oversees textile production, organizes household finances, welcomes important guests, and ensures the smooth operation of daily life. During her husband's absence, perhaps while traveling or fighting in distant campaigns, she may even take charge of defending the castle itself, directing supplies and maintaining order among those who remain. Children born into noble families experience an upbringing very different from that of village children, yet it is no less demanding. Young boys begin learning courtly manners, reading, riding, hunting, and swordsmanship from an early age. Around the age of 7, many leave home to serve as pages in another noble household, beginning years of training that may eventually lead to knighthood. They learn discipline, loyalty, etiquette, and military skills, preparing for lives shaped by duty rather than personal choice. Girls born into noble families also receive careful instruction. They learn reading in some households, along with music, embroidery, household management, religious studies, and the complex customs expected within medieval courts. Many are prepared from childhood for marriages that strengthen political alliances between powerful families. Personal affection may grow over time, but marriages are often arranged with family interests in mind rather than individual preference. The image of the fearless knight riding proudly into battle has become one of history's most recognizable symbols. Yet becoming a knight requires years of rigorous preparation. Physical strength alone is not enough. Knights train daily with swords, spears, shields, bows, and horses. They practice until movements become instinctive, knowing that hesitation on the battlefield may cost their lives. Armor, although expertly crafted, is heavy and demanding. A complete suit of plate armor can weigh around 20 kilograms, or about 45 pounds, with the weight distributed across the body. Contrary to popular myths, trained knights can move, ride, and even run while wearing it, but fighting remains exhausting. Battles are loud, confusing, and dangerous. Beneath the polished steel lie ordinary human beings who experience fear, fatigue, and uncertainty just like everyone else. Feasts provide some of the most memorable moments within castle life. During important celebrations, long tables overflow with roasted meats, fresh bread, cheeses, pies, fruits, and imported spices available only to the wealthy. Musicians perform lively melodies while jesters entertain guests with stories and humor. Falcons may be displayed, hunting tales exchanged, and visiting nobles discuss politics or distant events. yet these grand occasions are relatively rare. Most days are governed by routine responsibilities rather than endless celebration. Even castles are not immune to hardship. Disease spreads easily through crowded living spaces. Food supplies must be carefully stored against long winters or possible sieges. Fires remain a constant danger despite the stone construction, especially in wooden roofs and interior buildings. Political alliances shift unexpectedly, and a trusted neighbor today may become tomorrow's enemy. Life within castle walls offers greater security than many villages, but it never guarantees complete safety. As evening settles over the fortress, guards take their positions atop the battlements. Torches flicker along stone walkways while the heavy gates close for the night. Beyond the walls, forests disappear into darkness and distant villages prepare for sleep. Inside, the great hall gradually grows quiet as candles burn low, and another demanding day comes to an end. Although nobles and knights live very differently from ordinary villagers, one truth connects them all. Whether in a humble cottage or behind towering stone walls, medieval life is shaped by uncertainty, responsibility, and the constant need to prepare for whatever tomorrow may bring. In the next chapter, we will leave the castles behind and journey into one of the greatest threats faced by every medieval community: disease, famine, and the fragile struggle to survive in a world where even the smallest misfortune could change countless lives forever. As impressive as castles may appear and as peaceful as medieval villages can seem beneath the morning sun, there is another side to life in the Middle Ages, one that is far less visible but impossible to escape. It is a world where uncertainty is woven into everyday existence, where a healthy family can suddenly find itself facing illness, hunger, or loss with little warning. For medieval people, survival is never something to be taken for granted. It is earned one season, one harvest, and one day at a time. Imagine waking on an ordinary spring morning. The birds are singing, the fields are beginning to turn green, and the village appears unchanged. Yet somewhere nearby, a child has developed a fever during the night. At first, the family hopes it is nothing serious. They prepare herbal remedies, cool cloths, and quiet prayers, believing that rest may be enough. But in the medieval world, even a common illness can become dangerous. There are no antibiotics, no modern hospitals, and no scientific understanding of bacteria or viruses. Recovery depends largely on the body's own strength, the care of loved ones, and many believe the will of God. Local healers possess valuable knowledge gathered over generations. They recognize the healing qualities of plants such as sage, chamomile, mint, yarrow, and willow bark. Simple remedies made from herbs, honey, and natural oils often provide comfort and sometimes genuine relief. Broken bones may be carefully set with wooden splints, while wounds are cleaned as thoroughly as possible using the knowledge available at the time. Although many treatments are based on tradition rather than modern medicine, these healers play an essential role within their communities, offering hope when little else can be done. Good hygiene, as we understand it today, is difficult to maintain. Water must be carried by hand, waste disposal is limited, and people live in close proximity to both one another and their animals. Rats, fleas, and insects are common companions in towns and villages alike. During warm months especially, diseases spread more easily through crowded settlements where sanitation is far from perfect. Most people have no understanding of the tiny organisms responsible for infection, making prevention largely a matter of experience rather than science. Perhaps no event has shaped our image of the Middle Ages more than the arrival of the Black Death during the 14th century. Though our journey tonight spans many centuries of medieval life, it is impossible to ignore the profound impact of this devastating pandemic. Carried by fleas that lived on black rats traveling along busy trade routes, the disease spread with astonishing speed across Europe, Asia, and North Africa. Within only a few years, entire towns were transformed, and millions of lives were lost. Historians estimate that between 1/3 and 1/2 of Europe's population may have died during this terrible period. For those living through it, the experience is almost unimaginable. Villages that had once echoed with children's laughter fall strangely quiet. Fields remain unplanted because there are too few healthy workers to tend them. Church bells ring again and again as communities mourn neighbors, friends, and family members. Fear spreads almost as quickly as the disease itself. Without knowing its true cause, many people search desperately for explanations, while others simply focus on caring for those they love. Yet even outside times of great plague, illness remains a constant presence. A simple infected cut from a farming tool can become life-threatening. Childbirth, while a natural part of life, carries serious risks for both mother and baby. Winter illnesses often claim the very young and the elderly. Every family experiences moments of grief, and nearly everyone grows up familiar with the reality of loss. These experiences shape a society that values resilience, faith, and close family bonds. Hunger presents another challenge that returns again and again. Medieval farming depends almost entirely upon the weather. A late frost may destroy young crops before they have a chance to grow. Weeks of heavy rain can rot grain in the fields, while prolonged drought leaves the earth dry and unproductive. Unlike today, there are no refrigerated warehouses, international food shipments, or modern transportation networks capable of quickly bringing supplies from distant regions. If a local harvest fails, help may be slow to arrive, if it arrives at all. During difficult years, families stretch every available resource. Bread becomes smaller, stews thinner, and meat even rarer than usual. Wild berries, mushrooms, nuts, and edible plants gathered from nearby forests supplement dwindling food stores. Every scrap is used carefully, and nothing edible is wasted. Parents often quietly reduce their own portions, so that children may eat a little more, making sacrifices that rarely appear in written histories, but speak volumes about the quiet strength of ordinary people. Winter tests these preparations more than any other season. As snow blankets the countryside, fields lie dormant beneath frozen ground. Firewood stacked months earlier must last until spring. Salted meat, dried beans, preserved vegetables, and grain stored in wooden bins become the family's lifeline. Each meal reminds them of the work completed during warmer months. A long or especially harsh winter can quickly exhaust supplies, leaving families to hope that spring arrives before hunger grows severe. Natural disasters add yet another layer of uncertainty. Floods sweep away bridges and mills. Powerful storms damage homes and flatten crops ready for harvest. Lightning sometimes ignites fires that spread rapidly through villages built largely from wood and straw. Earthquakes are rare in much of medieval Europe, but when they occur, they are remembered for generations. People learn that no matter how carefully they prepare, nature always possesses the final word. And yet, amid all these hardships, medieval communities display remarkable compassion. When one family's barn burns down, neighbors gather to rebuild it. If illness prevents a farmer from working his fields, others may help bring in the harvest. During times of shortage, monasteries and churches often provide food for the poor whenever supplies allow. Survival is rarely an individual achievement. It depends upon cooperation, shared labor, and the understanding that today's helper may become tomorrow's person in need. As evening falls after another uncertain day, the village grows quiet once more. A mother gently checks on her sleeping child recovering from illness. An elderly man adds another log to the fire, grateful that enough wood remains for the night. Beyond the windows, the stars shine over fields that hold the promise of another harvest, if fortune allows. Life continues, not because it is easy, but because hope endures alongside hardship. In our next chapter, we will turn away from the struggles of survival and explore the moments that brought color, laughter, and celebration to medieval life. From lively village fairs and seasonal festivals to music, dancing, and community traditions, we will discover how people found joy even in one of history's most challenging eras. After weeks of hard work in the fields, long winters spent beside the hearth, and the constant uncertainty that shaped everyday life, there were precious moments when medieval villages seemed to transform completely. The familiar sounds of hammers, plows, and spinning wheels gave way to music, laughter, and cheerful conversation. For a short time, the burdens of daily survival became a little lighter. These were the days people looked forward to throughout the year, festivals, market days, and celebrations that reminded everyone that life held not only hardship, but also moments of genuine happiness. Imagine arriving at a village just after sunrise on the morning of a great fair. The roads are unusually busy. Farmers lead wagons piled high with sacks of grain, baskets of apples, wheels of cheese, and freshly woven cloth. Merchants arrive from neighboring towns with goods that local villagers may have never seen before. Horses, sheep, and cattle fill nearby fields, while colorful tents begin appearing around the village square. The air feels different. Instead of quiet concentration, there is excitement. Children run between market stalls with wide eyes, fascinated by the variety of objects on display. Women compare fabrics dyed in rich shades of blue, green, and red. Men gather around skilled craftsmen examining polished tools, sturdy leather boots, and finely made wooden furniture. The marketplace becomes more than a place of trade. It is the social heart of the community, where news, ideas, and stories travel as quickly as goods. For many villagers, these market days provide a rare opportunity to meet people from distant places. Travelers bring tales of bustling cities, royal courts, distant wars, unusual customs, and unfamiliar landscapes. In a world where most people spend their entire lives within a relatively small area, such stories spark the imagination. Children listen with fascination as merchants describe towering cathedrals, ships arriving from foreign lands, or mountains that seem to touch the clouds. The smells drifting through the marketplace are equally memorable. Fresh bread cools on wooden tables beside warm meat pies, roasted chestnuts, fragrant herbs, and honey cakes prepared especially for the occasion. Although everyday meals remain simple, festivals often allow families to enjoy foods reserved for special celebrations. Even a small piece of sweet pastry or roasted meat becomes a treasured treat that children remember long after the fair has ended. Music fills the village from morning until evening. Traveling musicians carry fiddles, flutes, harps, bagpipes, and small drums. Their lively melodies encourage people to gather together, clap in rhythm, and dance across open spaces. Folk songs passed down through generations celebrate the changing seasons, successful harvests, heroic legends, and familiar village life. Some tunes are joyful and energetic, while others are slow and reflective, carrying echoes of stories far older than anyone can remember. Dancing becomes one of the simplest and most universal forms of celebration. Young and old join hands in circles or long lines, moving together beneath the open sky. These dances require no elaborate costumes or grand ballrooms. They belong to ordinary people, offering a chance to laugh, exercise, and strengthen friendships within the community. Even those who choose not to dance often smile as they watch neighbors enjoying themselves after months of demanding work. Children perhaps enjoy these celebrations more than anyone else. Their daily responsibilities remain important, but during festivals, they are often granted extra freedom. They play simple games with hoops, wooden balls, spinning tops, and carved toys made by local craftsmen. Friendly competitions test skills in running, wrestling, archery, or balancing games. Laughter echoes through the village streets, reminding everyone that childhood, despite its many responsibilities, still holds moments of carefree delight. Religious festivals also bring communities together throughout the year. Christmas, Easter, harvest festivals, and saints' feast days combine worship with celebration. Churches are decorated with greenery, flowers, and candles. After religious services, families gather for shared meals, music, and conversation. These occasions strengthen the bonds between neighbors while marking the passage of time through familiar traditions that have continued for generations. For craftsmen and merchants, fairs are more than celebrations. They are vital opportunities for business. A blacksmith may sell newly forged farming tools, while a potter displays carefully crafted bowls and jugs. Weavers offer warm woolen cloaks before winter arrives, and leatherworkers present sturdy belts, gloves, and boots. Successful market days provide income that supports entire families until the next gathering. Not every visitor comes to buy or sell. Some arrive simply to watch performers whose talents seem almost magical. Storytellers captivate audiences with tales of brave knights, clever peasants, distant kingdoms, and mythical creatures. Jugglers toss brightly colored balls high into the air, while skilled acrobats perform daring feats that leave crowds applauding with delight. For people who rarely travel beyond neighboring villages, these entertainers offer a welcome glimpse into a wider and more colorful world. As afternoon slowly fades toward evening, the excitement begins to soften. Merchants carefully pack away unsold goods, wagons are loaded once again, and travelers prepare for the roads ahead. The music grows quieter, children grow tired from hours of play, and families begin their familiar walk home beneath the golden light of the setting sun. The village gradually returns to its ordinary rhythm. Tomorrow, the fields will once again demand attention. Bread must still be baked, animals cared for, and tools repaired. Yet something has changed. The shared laughter, songs, and celebrations have renewed the spirit of the community. These joyful moments remind people that even during difficult times, life is not defined only by labor and hardship. Friendship, tradition, music, and hope are equally important parts of the human experience. As darkness settles gently over the countryside, and the last notes of distant music fade into the evening air, our journey through medieval life begins to draw toward its conclusion. In the final chapter, we will reflect on the lasting legacy of the Middle Ages, and consider what the everyday lives of ordinary medieval people can still teach us about resilience, community, and the remarkable ability of human beings to endure through history. As our journey through medieval Europe slowly approaches its final chapter, take one last look across the countryside. The morning mist rises gently from green fields, church bells echo across distant hills, and smoke curls peacefully from the chimneys of small cottages scattered throughout the valley. At first glance, this world seems unimaginably distant from our own. Yet, despite the passing of hundreds of years, many parts of medieval life continue to shape the world we know today. It is easy to think of the Middle Ages as a time completely separated from modern life, a period of castles, knights, and forgotten traditions. But history is rarely divided into neat chapters. Every generation leaves behind ideas, inventions, customs, and buildings that quietly influence those who come after. The medieval world, with all of its hardships and achievements, laid many of the foundations upon which modern society would eventually be built. Consider the villages we have visited throughout this journey. Their winding streets, stone churches, market squares, and modest homes formed the hearts of countless communities across Europe. Many of these villages still exist today. Although electricity now lights their streets and automobiles replace horse-drawn carts, the basic layout remains remarkably familiar. Ancient churches continue to ring their bells, market squares still welcome visitors, and buildings constructed centuries ago stand as silent witnesses to generations of changing history. The magnificent cathedrals built during the Middle Ages remain among humanity's greatest architectural achievements. Their soaring towers, intricate carvings, and brilliant stained glass windows required extraordinary skill, patience, and cooperation. Entire communities contributed to their construction, knowing that the work might not be completed within their own lifetimes. Some cathedrals took more than 100 years to finish, becoming symbols of hope shared across generations. Today, millions of visitors continue to admire these remarkable buildings, often standing beneath the very same stone arches that medieval craftsmen carefully raised by hand. Many universities also trace their origins to the medieval period. Institutions established in cities such as Bologna, Paris, and Oxford became places where scholars gathered to study philosophy, law, medicine, mathematics, and theology. Though education was available to only a small portion of society at the time, these early centers of learning preserved knowledge that might otherwise have been lost. Over the centuries, they grew into some of the world's most respected universities, continuing traditions that began hundreds of years ago. Even many familiar words and customs have medieval roots. Town markets evolved into the busy commercial centers we know today. Guilds of skilled craftsmen helped establish standards for quality and training that influenced modern professions. Legal traditions developed gradually through medieval courts, contributing ideas that would later become part of national legal systems across Europe and beyond. The world changed slowly, but each generation added another layer to the society we now inhabit. Perhaps the most enduring legacy, however, is not found in stone buildings or ancient documents. It is found in the remarkable resilience of ordinary people. Throughout our journey, we have met farmers rising before sunrise, blacksmiths shaping glowing iron, mothers preparing simple meals over open fires, children learning responsibilities at an early age, and communities supporting one another through illness, hunger, and hardship. Their names have mostly disappeared from history, yet their quiet determination shaped entire civilizations. Modern life often feels fast, filled with constant movement and endless streams of information. We measure seconds with digital clocks, communicate instantly across continents, and travel farther in a single day than many medieval people would travel in a lifetime. Yet despite these extraordinary advances, the values that sustained medieval communities remain surprisingly familiar. Families still gather around shared meals. Neighbors continue helping one another during difficult times. Parents teach children skills, values, and traditions passed from one generation to the next. Communities celebrate festivals, mourn losses, and find comfort in shared experiences much as they did centuries ago. There is also something to learn from the medieval relationship with nature. Every sunrise, every season, every rainfall, and every harvest carried profound importance. People understood that their survival depended upon respecting the rhythms of the natural world. While modern technology has transformed agriculture and daily life, the changing seasons still influence us, reminding humanity that we remain connected to the environment in countless visible and invisible ways. The stories of medieval life also encourage us to question popular myths. Not every knight was a fearless hero. Not every castle was filled with luxury. Not every peasant lived in constant misery. Reality, as is often the case in history, was more balanced and more human. Alongside suffering existed kindness. Alongside poverty existed generosity. Alongside fear existed hope. Medieval people laughed, celebrated, dreamed, worried, and loved just as people do today. History becomes most meaningful when we remember that it is not only the story of kings, queens, and famous battles. It is also the story of ordinary individuals whose quiet efforts rarely appear in books. The baker who rose before dawn to prepare bread, the shepherd who watched over flocks beneath the stars, the child who carried water from the village well, the grandmother who preserved family stories beside the evening fire. Though history rarely records their names, their lives formed the foundation upon which entire societies depended. As twilight gently settles over the medieval landscape one final time, imagine the village growing quiet once again. The fields rest beneath the fading light. The church bell marks the end of another day. Families gather around warm hearths, sharing simple meals before preparing for sleep. Above them, the same stars that watched over countless generations continue their silent journey across the night sky, unchanged by the passing centuries. In our final chapter, we will bring this peaceful journey to a close. Together, we will reflect upon everything we have discovered, offering one last quiet walk through the medieval world before returning gently to the present day, carrying with us a deeper appreciation for the resilience, simplicity, and enduring spirit of those who came before us. Our journey through the Middle Ages is almost complete. For the past several hours, we have walked together along muddy village roads, stood beneath the towering walls of ancient castles, listened to the ringing of church bells, watched farmers work from sunrise until sunset, and gathered beside warm hearths as families ended another long day. We have explored a world that was often difficult, sometimes unpredictable, yet filled with remarkable resilience and quiet moments of beauty. As the night grows deeper, imagine yourself standing on a gentle hillside overlooking a peaceful medieval village. The last glow of sunset has disappeared beyond the horizon. A cool breeze moves softly through the tall grass, carrying with it the scent of fresh earth and distant wood smoke. Below, tiny lights flicker inside scattered cottages. The day's work is finally over. The blacksmith has laid down his hammer. The baker's oven slowly cools after another day's bread has been shared. The shepherd has guided the last sheep safely into their pen. Children who spent the day helping their families now sleep peacefully beneath simple wool blankets, dreaming beneath the same stars that shine above us tonight. The village grows wonderfully quiet. Only the gentle crackle of fireplaces, the distant hoot of an owl, and the occasional whisper of wind through ancient oak trees break the silence. The great castle that once bustled with servants, soldiers, merchants, and noble guests now rests beneath the moonlight. Guards continue their watch upon the walls, their lanterns glowing faintly against the stone towers. Beyond the castle gates, the forests stretch into darkness, unchanged for centuries, mysterious and calm. As we look across this peaceful landscape, it becomes clear that history is not only a collection of famous kings, dramatic battles, or powerful empires. It is also the story of ordinary people. It is the story of the farmer who patiently planted seeds without knowing whether the harvest would succeed. It is the story of the mother who rose before sunrise to bake bread for her family. It is the story of the blacksmith whose hands shaped the tools that built an entire village. It is the story of children who learned responsibility long before adulthood, growing stronger with every passing season. Most of these people left behind no books, no monuments, and no portraits. Their names have been forgotten. Yet their lives mattered. Every meal they prepared, every field they cultivated, every home they repaired, and every lesson they passed to the next generation helped shape the world that would eventually become our own. History often remembers rulers, but civilization has always been carried forward by ordinary people. Perhaps that is the greatest lesson the medieval world still offers us today. Even during years of hardship, people continue to hope. After every harsh winter came another spring. After every failed harvest came another chance to sow new seeds. After every difficult day, families gathered together around a warm fire, sharing stories, laughter, and the quiet comfort of simply being together. There is something deeply peaceful about that rhythm of life. A slower pace, a closer connection to nature, an appreciation for simple moments that modern life sometimes encourages us to overlook. As you continue relaxing, allow your thoughts to drift gently through the countryside one final time. Picture golden fields stretching toward the horizon, ancient forests standing silently beneath the stars, a winding river reflecting the moonlight, the soft ringing of a distant church bell carried by the evening breeze, the warm glow of cottage windows slowly fading as one by one the candles burn low. The village sleeps. The roads are empty. The fields rest until another sunrise. And above it all, the night sky remains timeless, watching over generations separated by centuries, yet connected by the same hopes, fears, and dreams. Thank you for joining me on this peaceful journey through medieval history. If you enjoyed spending this quiet evening exploring the past, I'd truly appreciate your support. A simple asterisk like lets YouTube know you enjoyed the documentary and helps more history lovers discover these relaxing stories. If you're new here, consider *** subscribing to Bedtime History Documentary * for more long-form bedtime journeys through ancient Rome, Egypt, Viking Scandinavia, medieval Europe, feudal Japan, forgotten civilizations, and many more fascinating chapters of human history. And before you drift off to sleep, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Which period of history would you like us to explore next? Your suggestions help shape future documentaries, and it's always wonderful to see where our community wants to travel through history together. Now there is nothing more you need to do. Simply close your eyes. Let your breathing become slow and steady. Leave behind the noise of the modern world. Allow the quiet medieval countryside to fade gently into the distance. May your evening be peaceful. May your dreams be filled with wonder. And until our next journey through history, good night.